And of course, we're talking about the Israelite kings of the houses of Judah, Zerah and Phares.
Well, absolutely. We're talking about the dispersion of Israel.
Right.
And
right.
Paul knew that the nations that he went to were all dispersed Israelites.
Yes.
And his letters prove it over again and again.
Yes. So that the universalists who want to interpret this phrase the way it has been translated, and you could say it like this: to bear my name before the nations, which Gentiles they assume means non-Israelites.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And kings, which is another separate group, whoever they might be, and the children of Israel, as if the first two were different from the latter.
Right, but the grammatical construction is called a hendiatrisin, and it means one by means of three. It means that all three of these entities being mentioned are actually the same. The nations and the kings of the sons of Israel is the literal reading.
Yes. Okay, very good. Well, let me finish with verse 16. For I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake. So for the Paul bashers, these two verses, 15 and 16, are very succinctly declaring that Paul is a chosen vessel.
Absolutely. The Paul bashers are doing us a great disservice.
Yes.
Because these verses not only do that, they prove that Christianity is for only the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right, because of the bad translation, the Universalists have chosen to universalize it, and the Universalists have
only the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right.
The Christianity is for only the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right, because
the Christianity is for only the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right, because of the bad translation, the Universalists have chosen to universalize it, and the Paul bashers agree with them, not understanding the grammar here.
Well, the Paul bashers' biggest mistake is simply taking for granted that the mainstream translators translated all this properly.
Right, absolutely.
And they botched it at every turn.
Yeah,
they universalized it, they twisted it and perverted it at every turn.
Right.
And this is one of the primary verses.
Yes, very good. So let me just, one more question before we close this evening. Do you think that this false translation or this mistranslation here is deliberate, or are the King James, it appears to me, this is the conclusion that I've come to for a lot of these really bad translations, is that these translations from the Greek in the New Testament, especially the writings of Paul, it sounds to me like these King James translators didn't know Greek that well.
It seems to be on many occasions that they did not know Greek that well.
Okay.
And that men before them made errors.
Yeah.
But the biggest error, the biggest sin of the translators of recent time, who should know better, who after 200 years, you know, the English, the scholarship that the Englishman has brought to the world is simply amazing.
Right.
The work that they did in the Victorian age and the age of the Empire, all right, the work that they did in archaeology and in language studies, and I do the best that I can to follow that legacy.
Right.
And that is why I use all classical English in the sense of, you know, Victorian.
To universalize it, and the Paul bashers agree with them, not understanding the grammar here.
Well, the Paul bashers' biggest mistake is simply taking for granted that the mainstream translators translated all this properly.
Right, absolutely.
And they botched it at every turn.
Yeah,
they universalized it, they twisted it and perverted it at every turn, the house of Israel.
Right, because of the
Christianity is for only the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right.
Christianity is for only the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right.
All right, shalom. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakodash. I'd also like to give double honors to my elders and apostles at Great Millstone. They do well. And I would like to say peace and salutations to the Lord's elect, the hopeful elect in 1/3. And Lord's will, this lesson will be edifying and exhorting to the sincere sheep of Yahweh Bashem Shai Baha Rakha Kodash. And as the title reads, we are the Gentiles Paul went to. All right. Or we are the Gentiles Apostle Paul went to. All right. And I'll actually add that in, because to be an apostle means you were sent. And that's exactly what it was. Okay. The Pharisee of Pharisees, Saul, who was an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin, okay, got knocked off his horse, all right, blinded for 3 days, and then was able to receive the Holy Spirit and see that there were Israelite foreigners, all right, that there were Israelites that weren't in the land of Israel and that they needed the gospel, okay, and we are the Gentiles that Apostle Paul went to. And that's really what I want to focus this lesson on today for you brothers and sisters that are, walking, all right, in the faith of Yahweh Bashem Shai, this faith that we've been given, okay, we believe, all right, that we are the Israelites. And this is the same thing back then. We don't have, a registry, okay, as it says in Numbers, matter of fact, or in Ezra. Let's grab that real quick. Check this out. Let's go here. All right, let's put registry KJV. Okay, right here. Look at this. This was a big thing back then for us. Okay, like now, it says Ezra 2 and 62. It says actually, let's get it. It says all right here. It's talking about Israelites. Okay, it says they sought their register among those that were reckoned by genealogy, but they were not found. Therefore, were they as polluted, put from the priesthood. So even in our exile back from captivity, all right, after the Babylonians was the Persians, in our exile back, you had Israelites that couldn't prove with a registry, they couldn't prove their genealogy, okay? Just like now. What do we call ourselves? Well, we don't call ourselves Israelites, all right? We're calling ourselves Black. We're calling ourselves American. See, we are the Gentiles. When you read Acts 10, when you read Acts 11, when you read scriptures about the light being shined to the Gentiles, salvation being open to the Gentiles, that's talking about us, brothers, you sisters, because right now, what are you? Okay, you're on paper just Black. You're on paper just Latino, or it could be Irish. Hey, any of you brothers and sisters watching this right now, you were born in this country with an identity that is not yours. That makes you a Gentile. See, the nation is what's saying that they're putting over you. That makes you a Gentile. You weren't born and it said, hey, this is the Israelite tribe of such. No, because look, Gentile, it says a person of a non-Yahweh nation, a non-Israelite nation, or a non-Israelite in the faith, especially a Christian as distinguished from a Israelite, a heathen. What's a heathen? Anything that's not an Israelite. African American is a heathen. Latino is a heathen. Native American is a heathen because they're not Israelites, but they are Israelites. See, we're living in a dystopia right now where there's been all these names and titles and countries that have been layered over who we are. You see, so we didn't have a registry. We didn't have anything to say, look, this proves that I'm not Black, I'm an Israelite. The only thing that proves that now is our faith through the Holy Spirit in the name of Yahweh Bashem Shai. We are the Gentiles that the Apostle Paul went to. Okay, and it's not hard to understand that. And this is why it's very important, that these breakdowns are acknowledged, because you have Jakes who can't prove that they're Israelites, but because they are so-called Black, and then we let it be known that so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Americans are the Israelites. Now, when these so-called black men, okay, or Latino men find out they're Israelites, they'll start teaching, and then they'll deny other Gentile Israelite foreigners. Ain't that crazy? So these lessons are very important to know, that we are scattered among everybody, because we ourselves were scattered amongst people living as Gentiles until the glorious gospel was shined upon us. So we can't get too beside ourselves. When you read, okay, let's go to Acts 11. Okay, when you read and you hear about the Apostle Paul, all right, when you read about the Apostle Peter, and he's explaining how the Lord is dealing with the Gentiles, they're defending us, brothers. Okay, we can't get too far from ourselves. When you have to realize we're the third generation, we're like the third generation in this truth, meaning, first you had Yahushai, right? Then you had the Apostle Peter, and the disciples became apostles, and then you had Apostle Paul. That's third generation of the truth, if you will, like us now. You had the elders, and then you had our elders, and then you got the men that are over us, and then us. So we're like the fourth generation, fifth generation. See? So when you read, all right, when you read into this, and it's speaking about the Gentiles like this, Acts 11:1, and the apostles and the brethren that were in Judea, they already know they're Israelites. Okay, the apostles know they're Israelites. The brethren with them know they're Israelites. That's like our elders now. Okay, even though some of them were born to know they're Israelites, but not all of them, right? So, but back then, these are Israelite men that knew they were Israelite from birth, right? But then it says, look, heard that the Gentiles had also received the word of Yahweh Shai. So these are men that know they're Israelites, and now they're defending in the spirit Israelite foreigners that are identified as Gentiles, because they're believing. That's like us. We believe. This is us, man. You have to understand that you were the Gentile that we're reading about in Acts. It's very humbling. Okay, we defend the gospel, but you also yourself, all right, have to take ownership in this understanding that, wow, it is important that this gospel is open up to our brothers and sisters that are abroad, because we're a part of the brothers and sisters that it got opened up to that were abroad. Because if you look at it like this, let's just hypothetically speak, you have let's just say certain camps like IUIC, they were back in Jerusalem right now, and then you have the apostles, right, of Great Millstone, who are there as well. But now they're starting to talk about the Cornelius. They're starting to talk, hey, the brothers in this land. IUIC would deny that, just like ISUBK was denying the young Israelite brother just because he said he's from Africa. Let me see if I can find that. Captain Cesariak says, oh, watch this. I remember this when I first came in. Says, African boy can't come to the cookout. That's crazy. Let me see if I can find it. The annual cookout. It was in this realm. Maybe I'm not wording it correctly. Let's just put African. See if anything comes up. Okay. It was years ago. It's all right. If any of you brothers are, in the 2016 awakening as myself, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's okay. I'm not going to spend too long on it. But pretty much he's now changed his stance on it, if I'm not mistaken. But when I first was learning the truth, Israelites like Captain Zariak would deny you of being an Israelite just because you were from Africa. Okay, just because you were from Africa, to where even he denied a boy to go to the cookout, all because he was from Africa. And that's what I'm just conveying in this lesson now for us to understand. We were the Gentiles that that were being denied by over righteous Israelites. This is why the apostles, it was very this was very important. Okay. Now I also looked up Gentile, some good ones in here. This is Acts 13 and 42. And when the Jews were gone out of the synagogue because they knew they were Israelites, the Gentiles besought that these words might be preached to them the next Sabbath. So right here, this is us having what? A zeal, but not according to knowledge. This is why we're open up to this. Okay. We were open up to this. Okay. The nation of Israel. And there was a scripture that says only Israel has kept the Lord's precepts. All right. Let's see. Look, Acts 13 and 47. For so has the Lord commanded us, saying, I have set thee to be a light of the Gentiles. Right. If the light wasn't shined, okay, you got Israelite foreigners, as in like literally look like other nations. Okay. If the light wasn't shined on them, you'd be denying Israelites. So it's just on my spirit, like just wanted to express this. Like we talk about how the Gentiles are Israelites, but are you aware that you are part of that Gentile ship? We are. Okay. I was walking around as identifying as just Native American or just black. Now, it was always in my spirit never to say I was just black, but the point is, I didn't say that I was an Israelite until now. That's all it is. That's the same thing that's going on right here. Okay. And this is why this is a major prophecy. Malachi 4 and 5. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord, and he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children. Right. Apostle Paul's heart got turned. Apostle Peter's heart got turned to who? The children of Israel that were scattered and identifying just as Gentiles. See? And the heart of the children, the Gentile Israelites, to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. This is what happened to us. This is what we read about in Acts. See? This is why it's very important. It's not just to use this account to cut or correct a Christian. That of course that's the main focus, but also within that we understand that we were the Gentiles that we're reading about. We are surrounded by Jakes right now that are still just Gentiles. They're just Gentile Israelites and they have no idea. See, that's why Paul had got to the point when he kept talking to the Israelites and then they weren't accepting it. So he just said, I'm just going to go to the Gentiles completely. And Christians today, that's why I started off with that video. You have a misconception with Christianity today where they believe that the Gentile just means another nation. That's all they believe. It just means it's another nation. No, man. We're the Gentiles. This is Micah 5 and 7 or 5 and 8. It says, and the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles. What did it say? Shall he go to the dispersed? Go to the dispersed among the Gentiles. We are them. All right. John 7. Let's go. We'll keep that. We're in with that. Let's go to John 7 real quick. Okay. We are the Gentiles. That's why it says ye are no longer Gentiles in the flesh. We are the Gentiles. See, now it's starting to make sense. When you have this understanding, it opens you up. Like, right, okay, that makes sense. See. Wherefore remember, Ephesians 2 and 11. Wherefore remember that ye be in past time Gentiles in the flesh. We are the Gentiles in the flesh. We are the Gentiles Paul went to, because we didn't know that we were Israelites, but we still had the zeal. We still believed. Okay. Even Esau, I've heard him say how he's flabbergasted how so-called black people can have this belief in this white God, but people that look like their God are beating them and punishing them and hurting them and enslaving them. So even Esau's marveled at the fact of our belief in God, but we didn't have the knowledge in it. Okay. But that's because we're Israelites. Wherefore remember that ye being in past time Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision. See, back then you couldn't prove you're an Israelite, so you were just treated as a heathen. Okay, that's what the Israelites were doing to the Israelite foreigners, because they couldn't prove their registry. They couldn't prove this. They had tattoos, how they looked, because they were in violation of the law. They basically just X'd them out. Okay, when you read the scriptures, that you're reading about yourself, man. Okay, we weren't born. We are literally the walking representation of the Gentiles that Paul went to, that are speaking about. We were born into a country and identified as that country, not knowing that we were Israelites, but we believed in God. See, it says, wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, right, fleshly mind, who are called uncircumcision. You ain't no Israelite. Even that now, oh, you're an Edomite. You know, they'll even tell Jakes that they're not even our people. Well, do you know that that the word even went to the Grecians? Okay, it says, by that which is called the circumcision and flesh made by hand. See, that at that time ye were without Hamashiach, us being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel. Us, I'm just black. I'm just black, bro. I'm just young, black, and I don't give a F, right? And strangers from the covenants. I didn't know. Oh, that was for me. Oh, that's for us. That was us. You were born. You didn't know the old and the new covenant. You didn't know the old covenant. You were in the old covenant. You didn't know that. Having no hope and without the Most High in the world. We didn't know that. This is talking about us. We are the Gentiles Apostle Paul went to. How many years you been in the truth? Well, that many years back, you were just living like a Gentile, without hope, without nothing. All right? In the mind, see? We were the Gentiles. So it's very important when we read in like Acts and we see the apostles sticking up for the Gentiles, meaning the Israelite foreigners, they're sticking up for us. Well, just like today, when you see the apostles in the spirit, you know, defending the gospel, letting it be known, hey, I mean, that's an Israelite. They're defending us. Okay? They're defending us. You see? Now, this is John 7. And the wicked Israelites knew this, man. They knew that we were dispersed. John 7 and 35. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? Now, when you go into this word dispersed, and then we're going to even look at the commentary real quick, the diaspora. Okay. It says scattering, dispersion of Israelites dispersed among foreign nations. Israelites dispersed among foreign nations, to the Ephesians, to the Romans, see, to the Thessalonica, scattered. We to the Americans, just like now. You say, hey, all Americans can be saved, but what Americans? The African Americans, the Latino Americans, the Native Americans. See, what Americans? See, and then it goes even further. Even if you're not an African American, that still don't mean that you are a heathen. So then you try the spirit. But the biggest point I want to make is, even though we're so-called black and Latino, we were still Gentiles too. Okay, we were the Gentiles too, because let's go to Acts. All right, Acts 6. You don't think that just like now? I'm God body. I'm Hotep. You got black Israelites. You know, you got so-called black men that don't just say they're black. They say they're all types of stuff. Acts 6 and 1. And in those days, when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews, because their widows were neglected in daily ministration. What is this Grecian right here? Hellenistus, and used in the New Testament of Jews born in foreign lands and speaking Greek. We are Jews born in foreign lands speaking English. See, us, when you read about our elders and our apostles, all right, in the scriptures, I'm saying, I mean, we have them, you know, we have the men back. We're not pointing and saying who's who, but when you read about the disciples that became apostles and they went out and taught the Gentiles, They went out to teach the Israelites. We are those Gentiles. We are the Gentiles. We didn't know that we're Israelites. We identified as American, and we're speaking American. See, same thing. We are the Gentiles. Okay, that's talking about us, and that's another thing too. To people like vocab and Christianity, when they speak about to the Gentiles, yeah, that's us. We are the Gentiles, and then converting in the spirit. What would we do? We started growing our beards. We started living by the laws, the customs of an ancient Israelite. That's what we're doing. You have modern day men, okay, modern day so-called Black, Latino men, Native American men and women that have now put off Gentile American customs and now have put on ancient Israelite customs, just like we're reading back then. Okay, it's the same thing. We are the Gentiles. All right. Micah 5:8, and the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who, if he go through, both tread it down and tear it in pieces, and none can deliver. The point is, and the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles. We are the remnant of Jacob among the Gentiles. Okay. Let's see what else we got in here. It says Acts 13:47, for so has the Lord commanded us, saying, I have set thee to be a light of the Gentiles, that thou shouldest be for salvation unto the ends of the earth. We are in the ends of the earth. So this needed to happen. And you had wicked Israelites that were against this, and they wanted to stop this. They wanted to stop the apostles from teaching in the name, and then they wanted to stop them from speaking to the Gentiles. That's wicked. So hey, we're blessed, okay? Because even back at the One West School, I've heard the elder apostles say many times that, if you weren't black enough, so-called dark enough, you were denied. You were actually denied. Now, I myself, I'm so-called light-skinned, so I don't look the stereotypical dark-skinned Israelite, So men like us will be denied. And then I got tattoos, mixed fabric. I speak English. We would be denied by these men. But the Lord raised up his men to be a light unto us and had brought us in. We are the Gentiles, brothers. So this was very needful. Okay. This was very needful. All right. Let's see what else we got. It says Acts 15:7, and when there had been much disputing, Peter rose up and said unto them, men and brethren, ye know how that a good while ago the Most High made choice among us, that the Gentiles by my mouth should hear the word of the gospel and believe. See, we were the Gentiles, all right, that heard and believed, because these men that are speaking were born knowing they were Israelites. So they were sent to Israelites that were born that didn't know they were Israelites, i.e. us. We were born and we didn't know we were Israelites, but the Lord opened up the understanding that you would have this going on, right? Because Jeremiah says we would lose our heritage, a curse. We would be scattered. We'd serve other gods. Okay, we are cursed to be Gentiles. Because why? We disobeyed. You don't want to be Israelite? All right, go be black. Jeremiah 17:4, and thou even thyself shall discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee. You're going to discontinue from knowing you're an Israelite. I'm going to curse you, put you in captivity, send you to a foreign land, and then you're going to be born in this captivity, and then you're going to grow up thinking you are of this land that you are cursed in. And I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. There you go. See, we were cursed as being Gentiles. We were forced to be Gentiles. So we thought that we were Gentiles, but our zeal, our spirit, all right, always kept us geared towards the Lord. Real quick, Romans. I'm about to wrap it up. I was reading Acts and I just found it beautiful, because we always look at that like, using it to cut Christianity. But have you ever actually identify yourself like, wow, man, I was that Gentile. So when I'm reading Apostle Peter and Apostle Paul defending the Gentiles, hey, that makes me happy because I know that they're defending us. Okay. Romans 10:1, brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to the Most High for Israel is that they might be saved. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge. That's why we were destroyed, for a lack of knowledge. But now that knowledge has come back, this is why this statement was said. Oh, well, let's go even further. Let's take 2 out. Romans 2:14, for when the Gentiles, which have not the law, do by nature the spirit the things contained in the law, these having not the law are a law unto themselves. See, that's us. Just like in the world, brothers, you knew there were certain things you ain't supposed to do. You know there's things you ain't supposed to do, and you ain't do them, you know? Romans 3:28. It says, therefore we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law. Is he the God of the Jews only? Is he not also of the Gentiles? Yes, of the Gentiles also, because we are the Gentiles who were Israelites that didn't know we were Israelites. That's all it's talking about. And that's talking about us. So Paul, the Apostle Paul, is set at defense of the gospel. His spirit is set to defend the Israelite foreigners that don't know that they're Israelites. So he's being a lawyer defending them even before they know that this gospel is for them. Seeing it is one God, which shall justify the circumcision by faith, and uncircumcision through faith. See? Now going back, Romans 2, check this out. Romans 2 and Romans 2 and 28. It says, so you can even start up. It says, for he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly. We didn't have fringes on. Okay. We didn't look like, that's why now Esau capitalizes, because he so-called looks the part. All right. We don't have the outward look. For he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision, which is outward in the flesh, but he is an Israelite, which is one inwardly, spiritually. When you read the Gentiles, that's talking about us, brothers. That's why you have men like Timothy, okay, that converted, right? Didn't it say Timothy's father was a Greek? You know, let me grab that real quick. Yep, right there. See, Acts 16:1. Timothy's father was a Greek Gentile. He's an Israelite, but he identifies as a Greek, like my father. My father, to this day, still identifies as a Gentile, even though he knows that I'm an Israelite. See, so it's the same thing. We have our mothers, our brothers. They know what you're involved in, but they still identify as a Greek or a Gentile or a American. Okay? That's all it is. It's not that deep. But going back, where was I? Romans, yep. It says, but he is a Jew, which is one inwardly, spiritually, and circumcision is that of the heart in the spirit and not in the letter, which is the law, whose praise is not of men, but of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. There you go. So I'm going to just leave it there, man. It was more of a thought that I wanted to express to the body, to the brothers and sisters. You know, when you read in the scriptures in the New Testament, you know, about the Gentiles and Paul going to them, and you know that that's talking about the Israelites, but now having the mindset of that's talking about us when we thought we were Gentiles. See? So, hey, you should be in the spirit rooting for Apostle Peter and Paul and seeing, you know, them when we read about them going to the Gentiles. That's the spirit coming to us, like now here in America. That is a spirit coming to us that had no idea. And every Israelite over here, man, you know, we all didn't know. Now the Lord had remnants of information and, you know, passed down, but for the most part, for entirety, we all were just Gentiles. And then the Lord woke us up in the spirit. Okay, Abba Bivens. Okay, Abba Bivens coming back Elijah coming back, who we believe is by the name of Abba Bivens. That's high level, man. All right. So I just want to do that lesson real quick. When you read about, Paul going to the Gentiles, that's him coming to us. That's him coming to us. And now look, now we believe, and now we're teaching through the Holy Spirit. So I'm gonna just leave it there, man. I would like to say, call law, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Kakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that do well. With that being said, Shalom.